It was done. I had identified Jesus for the temple guards. My heart pounded as I followed the group at a distance as we went back across the Kidron Valley to the high priest's home. We were hidden by the darkness. A knot began to grow in my stomach. Jesus stumbled up ahead, and instead of pulling them up by his arms, they yanked him up by the rope that held his hands. This rough treatment was hardly fitting. Something wasn't right about this, but yet I didn't stop to do anything about it. When we arrived at Caiaphas' dwelling, I followed them all the way to the courtroom. Here, I was going to witness the brilliant defense that I had been convinced Jesus would give. I had long waited to see him display the Messiah's glory once and for all. As I tried to enter the courtroom, a group of elders stopped me. "You have no official standing here. Only members of the Sanhedrin are allowed." I tried to protest, but it was all in vain. They dismissed me like a lackey, already forgetting how instrumental I had been to them. I turned around, clenching both my teeth and my fists in frustration. Hoping to avoid the guards that had mistreated Jesus, I wandered to the other side of Caiaphas' home. There I found a smaller entrance where I could ask passing servants what was happening in the hearing inside. Several minutes passed, and I leaned in to listen, waiting for the moment when he would display his brilliance and power that would change the opinion of his opponents. My ears were primed to hear applause or awed silence. But instead, all I heard were hard yells and words spoken in taunting tones. I rushed to the doorway and overheard several people speaking as they walked out. "The Nazarene blasphemer deserves to be killed. If he doesn't even defend himself, he must truly be guilty." I hurriedly made my way to the main entrance in time to see Jesus being led away, bloodied and silent. Something had gone very, very wrong. And things from there only got worse. I overheard the guards say that my former master had been condemned to death and was now being taken away to see Pontius Pilate. This was Jesus, whose life I had shared for 3 years, who I followed all over the countryside. With my own ears, I had heard his winsome sermons. With my own eyes, I had watched him heal the blind and calm a roaring storm. And then it hit me. Even as I betrayed Jesus, he called me friend. The silver pieces the priests had paid me now took on a deep, sinking feeling in my pocket. I covered my face with my hands as a deep remorse washed over me. My gut was in knots. I took out a piece of the silver and stared at it in the moonlight. Were my eyes playing tricks on me? The original shine was now replaced by a repulsive blood-like film. Disgusted, I tucked the coin away and determined to bury my guilt out of sight. I turned and walked right into the room where the priests were still lingering and chatting about my master's trial. Drawing near to a cluster of them, I blurted, "I have sinned by betraying Jesus into your hands. I can't keep your filthy money. Here, you take it back." They wouldn't take my money. They looked at me and said, "What business of it is ours now?" The priests didn't care one bit about my remorse. They had gotten what they wanted from me, and now I'm just a nuisance. I'm just a nobody. Besides, the bribe money they had paid me was unclean and could not, according to their law, be used for official temple purposes, as if anything could make them more unclean after the travesty they had just committed. Filled with disgust and guilt, I slammed the coins down on the floor at the priest's feet and dashed into the street. I hoped that ridding myself of the weight of the bloody silver would help relieve my guilt. Instead, the burden inside felt heavier than ever. The scarlet tinge I had imagined on the silver now seemed to cling to my skin and even to my clothes. I became convinced that finding mercy or relief would be impossible, and I could not live with the condemnation from my brothers that soon awaited me. I walked toward the night bazaar, palms sweaty, hands shaking. In this unbearable agony, death seemed my only relief. Even the vendor who sold me the rope seemed to stare at me with disgust. I was beginning to understand Jesus' early words to me. Woe to the one who betrays the Son of Man. As I left the bazaar, I overheard that the priests had solved the problem posed by my blood money. They had found the perfect solution, The unclean money could be used for buying a nearby field to be used as a burial place for unclean foreigners. I laughed bitterly. Did the priests realize they were unknowingly fulfilling a Jeremiah prophecy when they bought that field? They took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of the one on whom a price had been set, on whom some of the people of Israel had set a price, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord commanded me. For I did not linger long on their hypocrisy. Rather, I left the marketplace to find a deserted place for my own unholy purpose. As I looked up and placed the noose around my neck, I could make out multiple crosses silhouetted against the sky on a nearby hill. Jesus would soon hang on one of them. It was now violently clear that the Master's plan for glory was different than mine, and was all along he was in more control than I ever imagined. Somehow the blood money, the scheming, the potter's field, even my misery and despair were no accident, and they all bear witness of God's greater plan. My name may forever be a byword, but my testimony is true.